Welcome to Find the Intersection. My name is Paul Dezay, and today we're going to be talking about Psalm 104. This is Pentecost week. We're leading up to Pentecost Sunday, this coming Sunday, so there's definitely an intersection that we're called to see through these passages about Pentecost and the move of the Spirit, and that's exactly what we see today in this particular passage. We're looking at Psalm 104, verses 24 to 34, and then the second half of 35. Psalm context. Let's jump in. There's three things that stood out to me, and they all have to do with verses 29 and 30 of this particular psalm, Psalm 104, both found in verses 29, and they're all three of them found in 29 and 30. First of all, 29, it says, when God takes away their breath, they die and return to the dust. He's talking about creation. So people, when God takes away their breath, people die. And we refer to that in, they return to dust. And we refer to that in funeral rites with funeral services with earth to earth, dust to dust, when God takes away their breath. And the word for breath, and this is incredibly important in Hebrew, is the word ruach, which means it's the same word for spirit or wind. And so what we see here is when God takes away his spirit, we return to dust. Now, it kind of going back to Genesis chapter, God created Adam. The word Adam is dust man or dirt man, from the dirt. And he breathed into Adam, and Adam became a human being, right? And that word for breath is the same word here as ruach, or the spirit. It's the same word when the Spirit was hovering over the waters in Genesis chapter 1. So it's incredibly important we see the connecting here between the Spirit that brings life in Genesis chapter 2, the Spirit that was there from the beginning in Genesis 1, is the same Spirit that the psalmist is writing about, and it's the same Spirit that is poured out on Pentecost, what we talked about yesterday in Acts chapter 2. So when the Spirit is taken away, people die. Now, the next verse, in verse 30, it says, when you send forth your Spirit, and let's stop right there. God is the one who sends forth his Spirit. He's the one who creates, and we'll get to what he does here in a second, but he sends forth his Spirit. He is a sending God. God is in this idea of sending. He sent Jesus to the earth, and Jesus sends the Spirit. There's this idea of a sending God, a missio Dei, the God who sends, the God on mission, the God who's constantly moving forward. And so we see here in this verse is that God sends his Spirit to the earth, to human beings for a reason. And then the third thing, which is the second half of verse 30, it says, for when God sends forth the Spirit, they are created, and you renew the face of the ground. And so there's this idea that when God sends forth his Spirit, again, we're in Pentecost here, he is creating, breathing into human beings again, just like he did in Adam. He's breathing in and creating. He's recreating the world, recreation or new creation. So that's what the move of the Spirit is. So when we take a look at Pentecost, and we'll put it all together tomorrow, we see this idea of God is recreating new creation of the world by the move of a Spirit, taking dust and breathing into dust and creating human beings, which is pretty cool. So that's what the Spirit does. When God sends the Spirit upon us, he recreates us. We become new creation. We become new beings, and we are part of this movement of God bringing more new creation to the world. Anyway, that's what I got. What do you get? There's a lot here. I only focused on 2 verses. So share your thoughts in the comments if you would, and we'll be back tomorrow to talk about the intersections. That's right. Hope you're having a great day, everybody. Grace and peace.